Okay, we're now ready to start mixing the laying bed. I'm going to show you two methods. One is in the wheelbarrow, which is great for small projects. However, I'm also going to use a hired cement mixer. The Pavestone recommended mix for laying natural sandstone paving is 5 parts sharp sand to 1 part cement. I'm now going to turn the hose pipe on and start mixing.
First, add some water. I like to use a hose pipe with a gun on the end to add the water. This allows me to get water to the back of the drum and it helps to stop the material sticking. Next, add 2 buckets of sand and the bucket of cement. It's advisable to wear your dust mask when adding the cement. I like to use a bucket to gauge the correct proportions of sand and cement. There are many different mixes around the UK, and this is always down to the type of sand that's available in your area. Keep the drum moving to avoid the mixture sticking to the back and the sides of the drum. You may wish to add a plasticiser or a product called SBR to the mix to improve workability and strength. Just follow the manufacturer's advice and the instructions on the packaging. Now let that mix together and then add 2 more buckets of sand, keeping an eye on the consistency of the mix and adding a small amount of water at a time. Sometimes, especially on a hot day, the mix can stick to the back of the drum even though you keep adding water. There are a couple of tips to get the mix off the drum, but you must turn the mixer off first. The first tip is to use a shovel to move the mix around. All the time, keep checking the mix and add more water if necessary. It's always best to add small amounts of water at a time. Unless you're laying a very small amount of paving, say a couple of slabs, it's a good idea to hire a cement mixer. This will be much quicker and much less hard work than mixing in a wheelbarrow. Add the final bucket of sand and another splash of water. The second method to move any mix that has stuck to the drum is to just use a small trowel, but again you must turn the mixer off first. You must never put anything into the mixer drum whilst it is turning. Another way to keep the mix moving is to gently tilt the mixer up. I prefer this method as I don't have to keep turning the mixer on and off. Just don't tip it up too far though, as some of the mix may come out the drum. A quick check and a bit more water and the mix is ready to empty out into the wheelbarrow. Tip the mixer up, do this nice and steady, and if you only have a small wheelbarrow, you can tip it out in stages. And there's the perfect mix. It should be a nice creamy mix. Too dry and it would be hard to tamp the slab down to the correct level and it may not adhere properly to the bed. Too wet and the slab will just slide around and laying will be very messy. And here's a Pavestone top tip. After you've tipped the mix out, put a splash of water into the drum to clean off any leftover mix. A few rotates and then switch the mixer off. This will make your other mixes easier to do. The next method for mixing is to use a wheelbarrow and a shovel. It's an ideal way to lay 1 or 2 slabs, but on a large project I recommend using a cement mixer as it's a lot easier. The same mix is used 5 sand to 1 cement, and here I'm using 2.5 buckets of sand to half a bucket of cement. I like to add the cement in 2 stages, and a quick reminder here to wear a mask when tipping the cement in. This smaller quantity makes it a lot easier to mix thoroughly in a wheelbarrow. Keep adding water in small doses whilst turning the materials over, and you must make sure that you get all the material off the bottom and out the corners of the wheelbarrow. Be careful not to add too much water, otherwise the mix will be too wet to use. One final splash of water, a quick knock up with a shovel, and this mix is now ready to use. For more installation hints and tips, visit the website pavestone.co.uk.